What's up, guys? This is Big D, and I am the Grim Rider, back once again with yet another motovlog. And this time, I want to talk to you guys just a little bit about the pros and the cons of riding in the dark. Now, I know riding in the dark isn't something that a lot of people really care to do. Others don't mind it. Some absolutely love it. I'm kind of in the middle. I don't really mind. I don't look to just go out riding in the dark necessarily, but you know, if I do have to ride at nighttime, it's not really that big a deal to me. But there are some good things and some bad things. Some are obvious, some are not, and I think a lot of these also play into also where it is you live or where it is that you ride. Even your part of the country, or if you're in a different country or wherever, just wherever you are, some of these things may just be a little bit different. So starting out, first of all, pro number one, less traffic. I don't know about anybody else, but for me, and I'm gonna admit it, traffic absolutely drives me crazy. I can be very impatient when it comes to traffic. I want to be able to just go. I want to be able to get to where I'm going. I don't like to be held up. I take roundabout ways to work for that very reason. I avoid heavily populated areas for that very reason. But that can't be done all the time. And sometimes, you know, you have to put up with traffic. A lot of the time I ride around out in the country, and there's not a whole lot of traffic to begin with, but especially at nighttime, whether it is out in the country or especially whether it's in a bigger town or a city or whatever, obviously less traffic. And so for me, that's fantastic. I can kind of go at my own pace and I don't have to worry about, you know, being held up, or I'm less likely to run into some idiot that's not paying attention. Now, one of the cons of that is it is more likely that if you do happen to run into somebody, it might be a drunk driver or something, being that it is late at night. But the fact that there's just less vehicles, just overall, I think even that chance isn't quite as much. So less traffic for me is fantastic, and it just makes for a much smoother and comfortable and enjoyable ride to me, not having to worry about so much traffic all the time. Now, for the cons, number one for there, obviously, is the very obvious, the limited visibility. Obviously, being darker, it's harder to see things. Once again, I think in more heavily populated areas like a town or city, there's traffic lights, and there's well, not just traffic lights, but street lights that'll light things up for you a little bit, and not quite as dark. Again, for me, since I ride out in the country most of the time, you don't really have that. You really just have you know, the light on your bike to see anything, and so it's harder to see what either obstacles or you know, turns, potholes, if there's something laying in the road. You know, obviously makes some of these risks a lot bigger, being that you can't really see too well. So you know, you have to just, I mean, I'll use my bright as often as I can. I try to be as conscious about using my bright as I can. That's not really the right word I was really searching for here. You know, I try to, with my fellow motorists, if I do have somebody coming oncoming traffic, you know, trying not to blind them. So I try to, you know, use it when I can, but I don't want to blind anybody either. I appreciate, you know, the same respect from other people to me, but either way, obviously the limited visibility is a thing. I think in the summertime, also on top of that, we get some really hot days and some really muggy nights here in southeast Michigan. So depending on what time of night you're riding, fog then becomes a thing. So I've had a couple times where I was out a little bit later than I initially planned. It's just kind of what it was, and you start to get a little bit of fog, so that even makes things even worse. So obviously the visibility is a major con of riding at night. Mentioning the hot days and muggy nights, that's another thing, and this is one of those things that I believe is also, it really depends, maybe, I don't really know 100% sure, but I would imagine that it would make a difference depending on where you live, the climate in your area, but at least here in southeast Michigan with those warm days and muggy nights in the dead middle of summer, riding at night, it's a lot cooler. And for me, that's a big plus. That's a huge plus for me. Because anybody that knows me knows that I, for whatever reason, have a serious problem with the heat. My body does not react well to heat at all. And I know there's been many times where people tell me, well, you're just dehydrated. Well, I tell you guys, I drink a lot of fluids on those hot days. And I mean a lot. And it's like, well, how much more hydrated do I need to be? But I can get lightheaded. I can get dizzy. My body feels weak. I just have no energy. I can literally walk out of my house, and if it's a 90-something degree day, I'll walk outside and instantly want to collapse as soon as that heat hits me. It's ridiculous. It really does make my life miserable sometimes. When it gets to be as hot as it does some days here in southeast Michigan, there are days that we the heat will top over 100 degrees, and on days like that, to be honest, I don't even like riding in it. It's so hot that I'm just absolutely miserable. I can't ride fast enough to try to stay cool. It's not a thing when it gets to be that kind of temperature. So riding at night, especially during the middle of summer, being cooler temperatures, it's just much more enjoyable for me. And it's sometimes during the summer, every once in a while, it's the only way I can get out because it's the only way that I can tolerate the weather. So that's a big plus for me. Another con is obviously, even though there's less traffic, and again, in the city, it might not matter so much, but again, I kind of riding out in the country like I like to do, the animals are out roaming around. So, the deer come out, and I've seen raccoons, I've seen skunks, I've seen, down the road from me, and this is no joke, there's a little farm, I've seen peacocks out on the road. Like, that's a legit thing. So the animals start roaming when it starts to get dark, and that's definitely something that you have to be conscious of, and you add that along with the limited visibility. It's definitely cause for concern. So if you specifically plan on going out riding at night, make sure that, you're properly hydrated and that, you're really rested up. You don't want to go out when it's really late if you've been up all day and maybe you're not, maybe your senses, aren't quite up to snuff, because you really have to pay attention. I mean, you have to have laser focus, got to be able to pay very close attention at all times. To the smallest minute thing. So the visibility along with the animals coming out, can make for some dangerous riding conditions. So if you get out and you ride, make sure that you're just really paying attention. One more con before I get into my last pro. And again, I don't know about everywhere, but I just had to deal with this recently. Southeast Michigan, when it gets colder, the bugs, man. The bugs come out at night, and they are horrible. I mean, the bugs will come out in mass, and you literally run through walls of them, at all times at night sometimes. If I'm riding Grim, if I'm not riding this bike, the Undertaker, if I'm riding Grim, I got the fairing with the little shield, and it's not quite so bad. Nick the Noob had mentioned it when he was riding with me, having the full face helmet really comes in handy for things like this. But I don't wear the full face helmet, and if I'm just happen to be out at night, like, on this bike, on the Undertaker, and I have no block, for these bugs. I'll get them up my nose. They're smacking me in the face. They're getting stuck between my fingers, on the hand grips, and it can really make things irritating and somewhat uncomfortable. So the bugs are a problem. So if you are going out and riding out at night, again, this might not be a problem where you are. This might just be a problem in certain areas, but it's definitely a problem here. I tell you, when they come out, it's kind of miserable. So that's definitely a con, riding at night. But I do want to preference a pro that I really enjoy about riding at night, but you have to do it at a certain point at night. And unfortunately, I've only done this, I think, only one time that I can think of, maybe twice, but one time for sure. The wife and I, we got out on the bike real late one night, and we were out riding so long that we started to see the sun come up. And maybe I stand alone in this opinion, but being out on two wheels as the sun's coming up, it's there's something about that experience I can't really put into words. There was something that was really special about it to me. The best way I can word it is literally feeling like, especially if you were having like a bad day or a bad week or something before all this, it's like you're literally riding away from whatever it was bugging you or bothering you or giving you a hard time, and literally riding into a brand new day. It kind of just gave me that feeling. When I saw the sun start to come up, you see the colors in the sky off in the horizon, and there was just something that, I don't know, I'll even use the word magical. There was something magical about that, and I don't really know why, but to me, that I think was one of the coolest parts of any time I've ever rode in the dark or rode at night. That experience is something that I would definitely like to do again, and maybe I'll actually film it next time, because the last time I wasn't really doing YouTube, I don't believe, then, or if I wasn't doing it quite to this capacity. But seeing that sunrise when you're out on two wheels was really, really awesome. So that's all I got for this one. Again, this is more or less just kind of my opinions and maybe even just pointing out the obvious. But again, I just was out riding not long ago, was riding in the dark, and so it just got me thinking that there's some good and there's some bad, and for every individual rider it's different. Sometimes maybe the good outweighs the bad, and for a lot, the bad outweighs the good, and so some decide that it's perfectly fine to ride at night. Others absolutely will not do it, or they will if they absolutely have to. Let me know in the comments below. Do you enjoy riding at night? Do you absolutely hate it? Are you kind of like me? You're kind of on the fence? Doesn't really matter to me. If I'm riding at night, fine. If I'm not, that's fine too. Like, if I happen to ride at night, it's not that big a deal to me, because I can focus on the good of riding at night. I can get the things I have to pay attention to and really focus on in the back of my mind for sure, but I can focus on those good things, and I can enjoy a nice little cruise at night. So let me know in the comments below your thoughts about your thoughts and feelings about riding at night. So with that being said, before I start to ramble, I am going to get out of here. So until next time, I am Big D. I am the Grim Rider. I actually almost forgot. If you like this video, then you hit the like button. And also, if you're not subscribed already, then subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, become part of the Grim crew so that you don't miss out on any motovlogs or rides or events, anything else that it is that I decide to do. We've got at least one really cool event coming up that I'm pretty excited about that you're not going to want to miss, and another motovlog or two that I have in mind that I want to put together, so you don't want to miss those. So subscribe and hit the bell. And with that, once again, I am Big D, I am the Grim Rider, and until next time, we'll catch you down the road.